The art of the no deal. That's the focus of tonight's angle. All right, it was the tale of two leaders, Trump, confident, relaxed, and friendly.
This has been an incredible visit. I think a lot of good has come of it. We've made some fantastic trade deals, great for both countries. He's a man I respect greatly. Become really a friend. We've known each other now 11 years, almost 12 years. That's a long time. We've settled a lot of different problems that other people wouldn't have been able to settle.
Then look at President Xi. No personal warmth. His goodbye remarks, kind of bureaucratic, as everything else a communist government produces is bureaucratic. And Trump understands Xi's demeanor, his look, his approach.
He's all business. There's no games. There's no talking about how nice the weather is. Oh, let's look at the stars. Let's look at the sun. No, he's all business, and I like that. I mean, that's a good thing. No games.
But in the end, China doesn't come away any stronger, any better, or any richer, because it essentially got nothing from this summit, except got a lot of compliments. Oh, but the dire predictions Trump was going to sell out America to the CCP.
He's going to sell out to China. We can't let Trump willingly give China our superior American technology, or allow him to serve Taiwan to the Chinese Communist Party on a silver platter.
He's taking the very Wall Street and tech billionaires who offshored our jobs, and he's begging China to put more money into the United States and violate labor. It's really a betrayal of the American worker.
Well, nothing of the sort happened, not even close. The headline in Reuters today read, America's most powerful CEOs don't have much to show from their China trip so far. Now, before they were complaining that the CEOs were with Trump. Now they're complaining that there weren't enough deals. Even the Angle was wondering, why are all these CEOs going? But actually, the number was fewer than Trump brought in 2017. But this was all kind of typical from a bunch of former, philosophy majors who've never had to negotiate a high-stakes deal in their lives. And of course, none of these TDS sufferers will ever apologize for getting it wrong. There was no sellout. There was an effort to stabilize, maybe talks of trade deals, as the president said earlier. And that's never a bad thing, by the way, especially when China still dominates in rare earths and in magnets and drones. Because of bad policy over the decades. It's not because of anything Trump did. We're still dependent on China when we shouldn't be in those areas. So stabilization, not escalation, is the best course. Plus, don't dwell on the pomp and the pageantry. Don't obsess about Trump's language. Look at the action. The truth is, China is being squeezed on energy in the Strait and in Venezuela. And their command and control economy is also being hit very hard. And of course, they still have a large trade surplus with the U.S. You can't turn that around overnight. But because of Trump's tariffs, exports to the U.S. are down. Look at these numbers. Year over year from 2024, that was Biden's last year in office, to 2025, Trump's first year back, China went from selling $438.8 billion in goods to they're selling us $308.4 billion. That's nearly a 30% drop. It's astounding. And the trend, by the way, continues in 2026. In March of this year, year over year, China's exports to us dropped 26.5%, from $40 billion to a little over $29 billion. Yikes. That's a lot of merch in China piling up in their warehouses, or it's just a lot of idle factories and increasingly angry and unemployed workers. But did Trump go over to Beijing and offer to drop tariffs for nothing? Or even reduce them? No, because that would be a sellout. That's what globalists would do.
Did you agree with President Xi to extend that year-long truce on tariffs?
No, we didn't discuss tariffs. I mean, they're paying tariffs. They're paying substantial tariffs, but we didn't discuss it. Before I came along, it was the opposite. We didn't discuss tariffs.
How come?
It wasn't brought up.
By the way, the president just landed and called the summit a great success. But did he give China the green light to sell cars here? Well, that's what someone would do if they didn't care about our auto industry, our independence, or our auto workers. Trump didn't do that. And while Donald Trump refused to tip his hand on any U.S. response to a future Chinese invasion of Taiwan, did he really change our position on Taiwan? No.
U.S. policy on the issue of Taiwan is unchanged as of today and as of the meeting that we had here today. It was raised. They always raise it on their side. We always make clear our position, and we move on to the other topics.
That's pretty much the way it always goes with these trips. And it turns out that the summit was a nice, polite conversation about having more conversations. And frankly, that is the best outcome for us. The one concrete deal was a Chinese order of 200 Boeing jets. But when they were asked about it today, China would neither confirm nor deny any numbers. That's so typical. A spokesman for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs merely saying that both sides should jointly implement the important consensus reached by the two heads of state and inject more stability into the China-U.S. economic and trade cooperation, as well as the world economy. Yeah. Look, this is not President Trump's first rodeo. He knows that China still hasn't lived up to its 2020 agreement to buy Boeing jets through 2025. And it will be critical that his trade team closely monitor compliance to any deals that are struck. Talk is cheap, but a Boeing 7779 costs $440 million. Again, Trump's team went in with eyes wide open. They've studied the Chinese. They've met their counterparts. They know how they operate. Going in hot would have accomplished nothing. Keeping them guessing keeps the commies on their toes.
Did you talk to him about the cyber attacks that he's done in the United States or the MSS has done?
I did, and he talked about attacks that we did in China. You know, what they do, we do too. We spy like hell on them too. I told them, we do a lot of stuff to you that you don't know about.
So in the end, maintaining a cordial front, even an overly warm demeanor, it doesn't hurt the U.S. one bit. It's kind of a keep your friends close and your enemies closer routine.
This is a great honor. It was a fantastic day. And in particular, I want to thank President Xi, my friend, for this magnificent welcome. This evening is another cherished opportunity to discuss among friends some of the things that we discussed today, all good for the United States and for China.
Talk. Now, it's true, Trump is not going to make MAGA happy by welcoming Chinese students here.
As far as the students, it's 500,000 students. They come, good students. I could tell them, I don't want any students. It's a very insulting thing to say to a country. They would then immediately go out and start building universities all over China. If you want to see a university system die, take 500,000 people out of it.
Well, he's just wrong on this, I'm sorry to report. Why should we rely on the Chinese to prop up failing universities in the United States? Plus, most of those people, those universities hate Trump anyway. And he's changed on the issue of China buying farmland.
Look, it's not that I love it. You want to see farm prices drop? You want to see farmers lose a lot of money? Just take that out of the market. But they've had a lot of land for a long time. Obama did nothing about it. They bought a lot of it during the Obama administration. He did nothing about it.
But in his view, he's probably thinking, look, if Congress really wanted to take farmland off the table, if Congress really wanted to stop the influx of Chinese students, it could have done this years ago, still could. But again, just because Congress is not good on this doesn't mean he shouldn't lead on it. Nevertheless, all in all, Trump's been a rock on trade, tariffs, managing our allies, and dealing with our adversaries. His critics have watched him for a decade, and they still don't understand him. The summit was handled beautifully. The art of the no deal that would hurt America's interests? No. Our efforts to rebuild our manufacturing base? Yeah, he's never going to let that happen. So let Xi, the CCP, try to find new customers for all the junk they overproduce as we continue to innovate and grow a dynamic economy that benefits American families, that does not reward our enemies. And that's the angle.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.